Come on.
In this last section we have together, I want to bring this idea of hope to you. Why hope? Why include hope in confidence? Because hope is far more powerful than you and I actually realise. Here's what I wanted to say straight off the bat. Prioritise hope in your content and preparation. Prioritise hope in your content and preparation. I think sometimes as communicators we get fixated on having the best content, having the best knowledge, insight, and sometimes we forget the kind of action that we're trying to elicit in people, the kind of atmosphere, the internal atmosphere of someone thinking and processing. Sometimes we devalue that and deprioritize it. We always need to make room in our preparation stage to think through, how am I going to create hope in the people that are listening to what I'm saying? Because hope is more powerful than you and I think. Now I want to show you this image, and this image was created by a guy called Shepard Fairey, which sounds like I've just made up that name, but I promise it's a real person. And he created this illustration of a presidential candidate, Barack Obama. And he did this sort of off his own back, but then it was so powerful and it kind of went viral when it went online, until Obama's campaign itself adopted this as the propaganda image, whatever. And by the way, Barack Obama is one of the greatest orators of all time. Check out just any of his speeches. This is what it was. Now, do you remember this? This is an image of him, an illustration of him that has the word hope in it. Isn't it interesting that he has used red and blue, which are the colours for the Republican and the Democrat Party? He's trying to bring those two together. Just this one word, hope, in this black man who could be the first black president of a very racially divided nation. This one word, hope, encapsulated Barack's campaign. And he used that, and people caught it. Not just because of what he says, but because of what he represented. And again, make sure you go and look at watch his stuff, because he's just a great speechwriter and orator. It is up to us, communicators. It is up to us to talk as if people can achieve things, not as if they can't, to inspire action and rouse people to attention. Now, I saw this definition online of hope. These acronyms? I'm going to give you one in a minute, so I can't be too critical of people who do that. But there was an acronym that says, have ongoing positive energy. HOPE, have ongoing positive energy. That is rubbish. Absolute rubbish. It's weak. It doesn't at all sum up what hope actually is. It's all emotion. And there's no certainty. Let me just tell you what this word hope means. Now, as you know, I'm a believer in Jesus. I read a lot of the Bible. And the Greek word that they use in the scriptures in the New Testament, especially by writers like Apostle Peter or Paul, they talk a lot about hope and what it is. And this Greek word is called elpo. Elpo. And it means joyfully anticipate, expect, to have a concrete confidence. That's what it actually means, a concrete confidence. So when we talk about hope, it's not about positive energy. This is about having a concrete confidence, a joyful anticipation. So the Apostle Peter writes in one of his books, celebrate with praises the God and the Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, who has shown us his extravagant mercy. For his fountain of mercy has given us new life. We are reborn to experience a living, energetic hope through the resurrection of Jesus Christ from the dead. Now, I don't know whether you're a believer or not, and to be honest, I don't mind at this point in time. I want you to catch this idea that hope is beyond positive energy. It is a concrete confidence. So here's my acronym, HOPE. Holding onto passion that endures. Holding on to passion that endures. I'm going to come back to that later. Okay, so how do you establish hope? Okay, so three ways that you can establish hope in your talk, message, presentation, whatever. Number one, refocus towards a future vision. Refocus towards a future vision. People are often fixated on what goes wrong. Okay, that is the natural default of every human. I had a friend who had a crippling problem with online pornography, like a real deep addiction that I know some of you might be facing too. And he decided for a period of time that he was going to go cold turkey, not watching, not do anything at all to try and break the cycle. And it lasted for a few months, but it turned into an obsession with not doing something rather than doing something else. And I remember sitting with him, hanging out one time, asking him how it's going and saying it's fine, he's feeling it's really difficult, he's getting a little bit obsessive about it. And you know what I said? I said, you're focused on not doing something. You need to focus on doing something else, doing something better, doing something different. And of course he went on and he broke that, and fantastic, all unto God. But the point still stands. We need to refocus people off the problem and give them a future vision. Let me read you another story. This is by a guy called Carl. So here we go. Shortly after the great aerialist Carl Wallander fell to his death in 1978 while doing his most dangerous walk, his wife, who was also an aerialist, said all Carl thought about for months before was falling. It was the first time he'd ever thought about that, and it seemed to me that he, out of all his energies, put all his energies into not falling rather than walking on the tightrope. I mean, wow. He put all his energy on not falling off. I think we tell people too often, you put all your energy in not doing something, when we need to give them a future vision. We need to give them something to look forward to. Give people a clear vision for the future. Tell them what it could be. Tell them how different it's going to be. When you go back to Barack Obama and you notice not just the cadence of his message, but the structure, he would always do, this is what it's like now. This is what it could be. This is what it's like now. This is what it could be. And what that does is that creates an anticipation, an expectation, a concrete confidence by casting that vision. Okay, the second thing is this. Repurpose past pain. Repurpose past pain. We've got to give them a vision, and then we've got to repurpose some of that pain that they've experienced in their life. There's a reason for the problem and the pain. There's a reason why people have gone through stuff, so they can weaponize what they've gone through, what they've walked through. They can weaponize that to influence, to bless, to help other people. I'm going to use another biblical reference here. And the Apostle Paul, in a book called Romans, says this. We rejoice in our sufferings. That means we're happy that we're suffering. Kind of a bit of a sicko, right? It's like when you go to a CrossFit session at the gym. Like, oh, I'm happy, but my body is killing. We rejoice in our sufferings, knowing that suffering produces endurance. And endurance produces character, and character produces hope. Wow. I mean, there's such great literature in the scriptures, but what Paul is saying here is this. Hope is created in you. Hope is this hope is developed in you first with suffering. Because if you can suffer well, if you can go through something and come out the other side, then that produces an endurance that allows you to hold on to a passion that endures. You get it? It's about having an endurance about you. And we need to help our guys to repurpose some of that pain, some of that suffering, so they can see the positive outcomes that can come out of that. Suffering leads us to holding on to a passion that endures. Have you had a broken relationship? Well, you've truly learned how to forgive, and you can help others forgive too. Have you had really bad mental health and you're still here? Well, there is a resilience, an emotional resilience there within you that you can teach others. Don't you see there's unique abilities within every single one of us to help and to serve other people? That event produces something positive and unique that you need to tell your people. Look, what you have been through, share with others. Tell us how you got out of it, and that will help others endure too. Okay, so refocus towards a future vision, repurpose past pain, and finally, lay out the path. Lay out the path. Are you ready for a truth bomb here? You ready? If they can do it, so if your audience, they's in your audience, if they can do it, they'll do it. If they can't do it, they won't do it. And they might think, duh, that's a bit stupid, Ben, of course. Like, yeah, I know, but just think about it. Whatever you're asking someone to do, can they actually do it? Because if they can do it, they'll do it. But if they can't do it, they won't do it. See, my kids won't, I mean, they're only, at this point, they're only like 5 and 3, right? So they've got an attention span of a small Cocker Spaniel, you know? And if you ask them to do anything too big, they won't do it. Because if they feel like they can't do it, if it's too far away, if it's too complicated, it's too big, they'll just go, meh, can't be bothered, you'll do it, or mum will do it, whatever. That's one way to press my button. So Hannah, my wife, was doing a lot of research into parenting young kids, and she gave me this technique that if you're asking them to do something, break it down and make it into a game. And so one thing they love to do at the minute is blocks. So there's blocks everywhere here in our front room. Hello, welcome to my house. There's blocks everywhere, right? And to get them to put it back in the box, if I was to say to one of them, hey, would you pick up all those blocks and put them in the box? They'd be like, no. And I'm like, okay. So what I do instead is say, hey kids, all these blocks have got to go back in the box. Let's turn it into a game. I want you to pick up as many blocks as you can and put them in the box in 20 seconds. Okay, ready? Go. 1, 2. And my kids just go crazy. And they start running and putting them in the box. Because they can do that. Because it's not too complicated. It's not too big. It's not too far away. It's right then and there. And they can do it. Simple steps. Doable steps. Achievable steps. Something that they can do because we know that if they can do it, they'll do it. But if they can't do that, they won't do that. We're about to finish our section on hope, but I just wanted to say this. John Eldridge, who wrote a book called Wild at Heart that was predominantly for men, it's like a spiritual help book for men, brings out this wonderful bit of poetry in one of his opening chapters, and this resonates with women and men too. This is what it says. Deep in his heart, every man longs for a battle to fight, an adventure to live, and a beauty to rescue. I mean, that's such a wonderful way of putting it. You can inspire hope in people. You can build confidence in their future. Not some positive energy, but holding on to a passion that endures past the pain, past the focus of today, and ultimately lay out some very simple, doable steps for them to achieve it. The handout is there for you to download. Thanks for watching.